Hiya, this is the first video in a series of videos I'm recording for my students to help them revise for the Unit 2 exam that's coming up. Unit 2 is databases, creating systems to manage information is the unit name. So this video is just going to be focusing on task 1, which is where you have to normalise the data set, get the tables created in Access and then relate them properly. So there's 8 marks available for this bit, so it's a must get right activity. Just going to scroll down to the important bit, which is task scenario. Right, so this one, it tells you that you're going to create a database for a music festival, which is going to run over a couple of days. So the database will record information about the customers, the tickets and the ticket sales. Okay, so there are 3 different types of customer and there are 3 different types of ticket. So obviously when you come to these specs, to these briefs, some of them are easier to understand than others. This one I thought was a particularly tricky one because in the bullet points where it tells you what information a database will record, there's 2 bullet points for tickets, although generally this is a 4-table solution, okay? So just bear that in mind, okay? So already you've got some information if you look here. Customers, tickets and ticket sales, okay? There are 3 types of customer and there are 3 types of ticket. So already you should start to get an inkling, at least, of some of the tables that you're going to need, okay? Now, this next page, which they provide you with, is also really important because this gives you a really good indication of what your tables are going to look like. So if you read across the field names at the top here, okay, you see that 3 of them have got ID in them, okay, ticket type ID, customer ID and customer type ID. Now that means, okay, that those fields are primary key fields. So when you read across, okay, you should have table ticket type, table customer and table customer type. That also means that you're going to need a 4th table. Now the page above this one told you that it records information about tickets and ticket sales. Now some students, when we got the feedback from the exam board, had opted to do a 5-table solution where they've got separate tables for tickets and ticket sales. I would suggest you don't need to do that, and the 4-table solution for this is perfectly adequate because when you look at the ERD that you're going to create, okay, each ticket will probably have a customer recorded next to it, okay, and that customer then has claimed that ticket as having bought it, okay. So what I'm going to do, okay, is just show you the ERD for this, okay. So what we've got is an ERD here. So I've got 4 tables: table customer type, table customer, table ticket and table ticket type, okay. Just look at the naming convention I've used there. So we signify all of our objects when we build databases, so that's the same: tables, queries, forms, reports, okay, macros as well. We want to be able to remember what object is what, okay, so we use a TBL in front of the table name. Also, you can see here I've not used an S at the end of my table names, simply because when you create a database, each record is unique. It stores information about one thing, okay. It is and each record is an entity, okay. So for that reason we don't use S's on the end of our table names. But anyway, let's have a look at these relationships, okay. Customer type and customer are joined by one-to-many relationship, okay. Customer type can be attributed to many customers, but a customer can only be one type at a time. You can't be a new customer and a guest of the organiser and a returning customer, okay. You can only be one or the other. Customer to ticket. So a customer can buy many tickets, as you would expect for those of you who have already been to festivals and so on. Yeah, you would normally buy tickets for you and for your mates because you're not going to go by yourself. And ticket, okay, one ticket can only be one type. It can be a Friday or a Saturday or a weekend ticket, okay. It can't be Friday and Saturday, and it can't be Saturday and the weekend. It can only be one ticket type. But a ticket type could be attributed to many different tickets. So, you know, it'd be a sad festival indeed if you've only sell one Friday, one Saturday and one weekend ticket, wouldn't it? Okay, so you'd expect hundreds of each of those ticket types to be available. So that's the ERD. What we're going to do now is go back to the brief and have a look at these field names, okay? Now remember, it says you can only use the fields which appear in this grid inside of your tables, all right? So just bear that in mind. That is similar across all of the different papers that we've seen and that you'd expect to get. Okay, so what we need to do, the first part of this, once you've decided what tables you're going to need, is to normalise this data set. And that means you're going to break it down and put it into a table where the field is related to the primary key. So for example, table customer, if you read across the top of these fields, you would expect to put forename in there because forename is related to customer. You'd expect to put the surname in there because surname is also related to customer, and you'd also expect the telephone to go in there as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've just come to Access. Sorry, apologies for this. I'm just going to create a new one because I actually created this video a few moments ago, and it for some reason did not actually record my screen and just the audio. It was very disappointing. So I am going to create a new database. I'm going to call it Database Festival 1 because I've already got a Database Festival saved now. I'm going to click Create. I'm not going to save the one that I just did, okay? So it should open up like this. Now remember, we like to create our tables in design view, okay? I'm just going to write in table customer first and click OK. And again, just like with our database names, okay, TBL and then customer has a big C. I don't tend to put an underscore between the object and the table name, but that's up to you if you want to. So I've got it in design view, and now I'm just going to go in and write my fields in. So I've got customer ID, I've got forename, and I've got surname. Okay, now at the moment I'm going to leave the data types as they are, okay, because you're not actually assessed on your table structures or your validation until task 2. If you prefer to do it as you go along, that's fine, okay, but I'm just going to do it after. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause this video, get these tables made, and I'm going to come back and show you how we're going to get these relationships in. Okay then, so I'm back now. So basically I've created 4 tables. So you can see in my object window down the side here, I've got table customer type, table ticket, and table ticket type. So in table customer, I've got forename, surname. I forgot telephone. Let's put the telephone in. In customer type, I've got customer type ID, customer type. You'll notice, okay, I've got no spaces between my field names, okay? We don't need spaces. If you create a form or a report from these tables later, we can put captions in to make them a bit more human friendly. So ticket type has ticket type ID and ticket type, and table ticket has ticket number and ticket cost, okay? So if I just come back to here, okay, you can see that now I've got these relationships. We need to create some links between these tables, okay? So we know which tables are one-to-many and know what the relationships look like. What we need to do now, okay, is insert our foreign keys. Each table's got a primary key, but in order to provide a logical link between them, okay, we actually need to put our foreign keys in. Now, as a general rule of thumb, the foreign key goes into the many side of the relationship, and this makes perfect sense. So customer type ID needs to come into table customer, okay, and that means that we can put a new customer into our database and then record what kind of customer or what type of customer they are as we put them in. Right, for a ticket, we need to know who's bought it and we need to know what type of ticket it is. So what we're going to do is put customer ID and ticket type ID inside of table ticket as a foreign key. Now, the way we do this is quite straightforward. Okay, I'm just going to shut down ticket type table and save it, and I'm going to shut down customer type as well and save that. Okay, so I am now in table customer, and remember I am going to pop customer type ID in there. Okay, now it's really important, okay, that for task 2, okay, for your marks, that your customer type ID and any other foreign key you put in here, okay, is spelt and presented exactly the same way inside of here as it is inside of its parent table. Okay, you'll lose marks if that doesn't work, and plus that access won't work. Okay, so what we're going to do is put up a table lookup between these 2 tables, and to do that, we change the data type to lookup wizard. Okay, I'm going to leave it on this top one because this is a table which already exists. You're going to choose a table where this field resides as a primary key, which in this case is customer type. Okay, now here it's asking what fields do you want to be visible in your combo box that appears, okay, when the user selects customer type ID in this table. Now we want both, okay, purely because there could be 100 different types of customer type ID, who knows, okay, and if you only display the ID field, that means that the person using a database would need to remember 100 different kinds of customer types and what number they are, which obviously is unworkable. So we need to make it a bit more human friendly by putting the text in as well. Okay, I'm going to sort it on customer type because we all love an alphabetically sorted list. Okay, and this bit is also important. I'm going to unhide the key column because what I don't want is a customer type recorded in words inside of that table. I only want the ID number. Okay, when you're happy, oh, okay. I'm going to leave that one, okay, and then I'm going to click finish, okay. I'm going to say, yeah, save that, okay. And then what we're going to do is do exactly the same in table ticket, okay. So what I need is my customer ID, and I also need the ticket type ID as well, and I'm just going to put those in and I'll be right back. Okay, so same again, I'm going to go to Lookup Wizard. This table already exists, okay? So customer ID is found in table customer. This time what I want is, I want the ID number, the full name and the surname, okay? Just so I can see in my combo list that I'm selecting the right person who's buying this ticket. I'm going to sort it by surname. Click next. I'm going to unhide this key column. Now that's only appearing like that at the moment because I've got no data inside of these tables, okay? If I had data in there, then you'd be able to see it in this grid. I'm going to click finish, save, yeah, and do the same for ticket type ID. So change your data type to Lookup Wizard. Ticket type ID resides in table ticket type. I need both of those fields because I want to know the ID and what kind of ticket. I'm going to sort on the words of ticket type, okay, and then I'm going to unhide this key column, and then I'm going to click finish, and then I'm going to click yes, and I am going to close down both of those tables, okay. Now when you go to the external, to the relationship manager, okay, what you might see happen is that you've already got some lines, perfect, alright. So what we need to do is change these lines so Access already knows that these tables are related, okay. I'm going to edit these relationships by enforcing referential integrity, okay, and then I'm going to click OK. Now what happens now is if you've done it right, these relationships will then change to one-to-many relationship, and it should look the same as my PowerPoint. In fact it does, yeah. So a customer type can be assigned to many customers, okay. A customer can buy many tickets, but a ticket can only belong to one customer at a time, and a ticket type can be assigned to many tickets, but a ticket can only be one kind of ticket type, okay. So that is that task done, okay. Now the way you get marks here is you'll get marks, okay, for all of the fields being in the right places, for all of the relationships being the right type, and for the lines to be in the right places, connecting the right tables. So what we need to do really quickly before I run out of 15 minutes of recording is just show you what your screen print is. Go to my snipping tool. Obviously you're going to need to hit your print screen button, okay. The print screen should show all of the tables, okay, expanded enough that the examiner can actually read your field names, okay. Now if you got that and that's the solution you got, then epic, you will actually get all 8 marks for this task.